Good evening. Robert Scribbler. It is June 28, 2018. Thank you for joining me for another climate and clean energy report. Now for today, we're going to talk, or for this segment, we're going to talk about some of the seismic shifts that are ongoing in U.S. politics and why that is so important to the future of everyone living in this country and everyone living in the world. Now, recently, or actually as of yesterday, Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy has announced that he will resign, and this will allow Donald Trump and Republicans to nominate a replacement. Now, Kennedy is known for being a moderate justice and for many years has been seen as the linchpin of the court for conservatives and for more liberal justices. Now, this is important for a number of reasons, and today a lot of people have justifiably been talking about the importance of certain critical women's issues such as Roe versus Wade and other social justice related issues. But there's also an issue with regards to climate change. So recently, a number of cities have been suing oil companies due to the fact that they intentionally misinformed the public on the issue of climate change for a number of decades by funding counterfactual and non-factual misinformation public relation campaigns aimed at generating doubt within the public mind that climate change is happening. And so, and you can read an article about what one oil company, Exxon, did over here at Inside Climate News. The article is entitled "The Road Not Taken," and it describes how Exxon learned about climate change in as early as the 1970s or before, and then subsequently went and told the public the exact opposite of what their scientists were telling them, mainly that climate change is likely to or could potentially produce a number of catastrophic impacts due to greenhouse gas related warming. Now, as climate change impacts have ramped up, certain cities and communities across the country are facing increased damages from extreme weather and sea level rise. And a number of these cities are suing oil companies for a portion of the damage that they've caused by emitting greenhouse gases into the atmosphere by selling greenhouse gas emitting substances and by lying to the public about the potential damage that the use of those substances could cause. Now, to be clear, the battles that are ongoing now are early, and so one shouldn't jump to conclusions based on these first decisions by judges. And also, there is a very large wave of litigation that is on the way. And since present impacts from climate change are mild compared to what they will be in the future, it is likely that this litigation effort will intensify. So recently, a judge in California, for example, dismissed a lawsuit against oil companies over climate change costs and stated that the problem deserves a solution on a more vast scale that then can be supplied by a judge or jury in a public nuisance case. So the initial finding is that justices and courts can't address the issue of climate change. It's kind of a strange finding because the court is simply being asked to assist San Francisco and Oakland in paying for damages related to climate change, not solving the whole problem of climate change, but simply holding bad corporate actors accountable for their actions. So it's likely that more suits are on the way. And as another example, this Inside Climate News article points out, I'm going to get to the headline here, that another California town, Imperial Beach, is also leveling a lawsuit against big oil. Now, these court cases are likely to circulate through the justice system, and some of them might reach the level of the Supreme Court. And so which is one of the reasons why the Supreme Court is so important. Now, presently, Republicans hold power in the House, in both houses of Congress, so the House and the Senate, and they hold the White House. So they hold all the political cards, and it's possible that Democrats might be able to influence a number of Republicans to potentially support a more moderate justice, but from what we know about Trump, he is likely to push forward the most conservative justice possible along the lines of those recommended by the Federalist Society. And these justices are more likely to be climate change deniers and to not have an accurate view of risks related to climate change, and may amorally side with corporate special interests which are trying to reduce their liability for the damages that they have caused. So what we should also say is that this is early, that these battles will be ongoing for a while, and that this is a major social justice issue of our time. So we shouldn't say that early on we're defeated, that we should just give up simply because the situation is hard for us now as those who support responses to climate change. But we should also recognize that the forces arrayed against us, both political and corporate, those of us who support positive action on climate change, are significant. And it will take very significant action on our part, concerted action, long-term action, for us to be successful.